Hello everyone. Let us speak about Form Designer. The Form Designer consists of such parts as Components tree, Properties pane, Palette, the View part, Context menus, Wizards. An example of such wizard is Edit Structure of the table. And the last element is the toolbar. The purpose of this video is to learn how to work with the components tree. The components tree shows us the XML structure of the form. The main function of the components tree is navigation within XML tree of the form, selecting an element or elements such as containers, menus, toolbar, or widget of the form, and ensuring the possibility to execute operation within those elements. The operations include typical operations and specific operations with container or widget, and the possibility to call wizard for specific widget. Let us start with navigation within the components tree. It is very simple. You just press the down button to move down or up button to move upwards. You can see that the changes in selecting of elements in the components tree result in corresponding changes in the properties pane and view pane. You can use right or left keys to open node. For example, now we use right key, or close this node. You can also use the mouse to navigate within the components tree. You can select one element or a range of elements if you press Shift key and left button of the mouse simultaneously. Or select some elements by pressing left button of the mouse and Control key simultaneously. For example, now we select label and column. There is a very interesting widget for selecting and navigation in the form as search elements by ID. You can call this widget from the context menu by right-click of the mouse. Then go to Select Item and search elements by ID. Or you can press Ctrl and F simultaneously, and Search Elements by ID widget will appear on the screen. You can use Elements ID to input which element or elements you need to find. For example, to select all the labels on the form, you should input such an expression. And Locate button. The first label will be found, and then we can navigate the search results by pressing up or down buttons. We can also restrict the scope of the search by the node of XML tree, or select all if you want to select all labels. You should tick the Select All box and start the search of the elements again. As you can see, all labels are selected on the screen, and it is possible to do some group operations with them. That is all about this wizard. Now, let us switch to context menu. The context menu consists of two parts. The first is common operations for every widget, such as cut, copy, paste, delete, refresh, show empty cells, select. And specific operations. For example, for grid panel, there is such a specific operation as append column to the beginning of the grid panel and append column to the bottom, append row to the top, and append row to the bottom. When you select several elements on the form, only common properties are shown on the Properties pane. Let us, for example, select these two labels. First, we select IB address, and then by pressing Ctrl and left click of the mouse, we select the second label. Now, if we change something in the Properties pane, the corresponding changes in the View pane of the form will be applied to both labels. For example, let us change the horizontal alignment to right, and you can see that the corresponding changes have been applied in the view pane of the form. So, to summarize information about components tree, we can say that it is used for navigation, for selecting components or elements, and for calling context menus to operate with selected elements. Of course, you can select elements on the view pane directly, but it is worth mentioning that some elements have very tiny size, which sometimes makes it very difficult to select them. Therefore, you can select them in the components tree, or use Search by ID wizard to select them on the form. That is all for this video. Thank you for watching.